Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to another episode of The Working Trader. I'm recording this on my lunch break, as I often do. And what we're going to talk about today is actually really important for me as someone who isn't a full-time trader and can't spend all my time managing my trades and looking at screens and charts. And that's a stop loss. But some people hate them. It's a really contentious topic, and it's very interesting why. Some people swear by them. They think it's absolutely necessary to manage risk. So in this video, we're going to go through why some people hate them, why some people love them, why I personally use them, and what they actually are. So let's get into it. What is a stop loss? So a stop loss is essentially an order you put in with your broker to say, once the price gets to a certain level, you want to close out of your trade. You no longer want to be in that trade. Now, this can be set at the time when you open the trade, so you can sort of say immediately, I'm going to open the trade here, but if it reaches this price level, I want to close it. Or you can just open the trade and then later on put in somewhere where you want to put a stop loss. So yeah, you can move it once you've opened the position. And what a lot of people actually do is that they'll put a stop loss in when they open a trade, so they're only risking losing a certain amount if it goes against them. But what they'll often do is if it goes in their favor, they'll move that stop loss up to a place where if it gets hit and they get pulled out of the trade, they're actually in profit. So they've made a bit of profit and they're kind of locking in that profit. One thing about stop losses though is that if you're in very volatile markets, your stop loss might not get triggered, or it will get triggered, but it might not get filled at the exact price you wanted it to. So you might set your stop loss at a point where you might have risked $10 on a trade. And if the trade went against you, you'd lose $10. But if it's in a really volatile, quick moving market, the order might not get filled until you're down $15. So in that sense, it's not always a guaranteed risk management method. Just an important note. And just for some of the lingo around stop losses, a tight stop loss is when you have that stop order, that stop loss at a point very close to the current price or to the price where you open the trade at, whereas a wide stop loss would be where you've got it a bit further away. So you've kind of given the trade a bit of room to breathe, so to speak. And there are arguments for and against each one. If you're a very active trader and you do loads and loads of trades, you might want to have it tight because that way you're only risking small amounts. But the downside to that is that you could just keep getting stopped out and keep making tiny, tiny losses, which could still eventually wipe you out. So it's not a guaranteed safe way of trading. A wide stop loss, contrary to that, you've given your trade a bit of room to breathe. However, if you make 2 or 3 bad trades with really wide stop losses, you again can wipe out your account. So there's pluses and minuses for each. Another thing to look at when you put in a stop loss, and this is one of the reasons why I always have the buy and the sell price up on the charts, is that you open the trade with the buy price, but you close it at the sell price. So if you've gone long, that is, it would be the opposite if you'd gone short. But so this chart is an example of a trade that I'm in at the moment. I went long on AT&T at $28, so I opened the trade at $28, and I put a stop loss in at $26, which gives you a distance of $2, you would think at least, to room to breathe. But what you have to remember is that it's when that sell price hits the stop loss, because I went long, so it will get closed when I sell it because I've bought it. So when the sell price hits it, the stop loss will get triggered and the trade will get closed. So it's not actually the whole $2 of breathing room, it's slightly less than that. And I think that's why I always like to have the buy and the sell price up, because some brokers will put in an average between the two, others will just have the sell price. But yeah, I think it's important because it kind of gives you a visual idea of where you want to put your stop loss. Because what I've made the mistake of doing in the past is not having the buy and the sell price on, set a really tight stop loss, and then almost immediately got stopped out of the trade because the spread was so wide that I didn't realize the sell price to close it hit the stop loss, even though on the chart it didn't look like the current price was anywhere near the stop loss, and that's just because of the spread. And we've got another video in our Back to Basics series on the spread, which I'll link to here if you want to check that out. I did mention that some people absolutely hate stop losses, so I'll go into that quickly. And that is because when you put in a stop loss, it appears in the level 2 data that there's an order waiting to get filled there. And level 2 data is, you can view it on some brokers. It's data from some exchanges and you can view it online, various platforms. A lot of the time you do have to pay for it. But it's just the next level of data with a bit more detail about what traders are doing and where different orders to buy and sell are. And it basically means that if you put your stop loss in somewhere, technically other traders can see what you're doing, where your stop loss is. And if they're a big institution, they could potentially try and move the price against you. Now, realistically, if you're a small retail trader, they're not doing it against you per se. It's probably that loads of people have got stop losses in fairly predictable places and they want to get some liquidity from the markets because they know for them it's probably going to be quite easy money, and they can do what's called spoofing the markets, which is not actually meant, they're not meant to do that at all, but they can, and I don't know enough about it on institutional levels, but I'm sure they do. But it's just an interesting thing. If you don't want people to see where your orders are, then you might want to just watch your trades and have a mental idea of where you're going to close your trades. I think the only downside with that is a lot of times people get emotional and too attached to their trades and they can't close it. They'll say, "Oh, I'll let it run a bit longer. I think it's going to go my way." And what that stop loss does is it kind of takes away that emotional thing, and it's just you've preset it. I want to close the trade at that point, and then you take the small loss. Hopefully, it will be a small loss, and then you reevaluate. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, just my opinions, not trading advice, but just hopefully some interesting and useful thoughts on stop losses. Let us know in the comments whether you love them or you absolutely hate them, because I know there is a lot of contention around them. And take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.